Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is the third and final book in the Book of the Ancestors series. I have done reviews for the first two books in the series, so I will link those on the screen. So as many of you know, the first two books in the series are some of my favorite books of all time. I love them both equally, and was very much looking forward to Holy Sister. Had heard a lot of really good reviews, and so that's why this is a review sort of mixed with a discussion, because I didn't have a very good reading experience with this, so much so that I did not hate this book, but I barely remember this book, and I don't even know what to think of it. I almost feel like it's me, but I'm not sure if that's the case. That's also, I'm gonna like kind of talk my way through this. So first off, with the world building, there isn't a lot of new world building going on here that we haven't already gotten. There's a little extra additions about some things, sort of like myth-wise, especially with like the ice tribes and stuff like that, but otherwise I feel like the world building isn't really a huge part of this book. It didn't really feel like I was learning anything new about the politics or major power players, and I get that this is the end of the series, but I still felt like I had more questions, and those were kind of left feeling like they weren't answered. Next, I'm gonna talk about our characters. And I do want to mention that I did read the short story that comes between book 2 and book 3 called Bound, and I specifically read that before because I heard there were some things that happened in there that affected this story, and that is true. I am kind of wondering why the parts of Bound weren't included in this or done in a different kind of way, because they definitely are essential to some of the character interactions. But with Holy Sister, you still have some of your favorites, but I felt very detached from the characters in the story. I don't know why. I listened to them on audiobook, but I listened to the whole series on audiobook. There was something about this installment where I just wasn't finding myself caring as much, and I should have been, because the stakes were so much higher than they have been. I mean, this is the end, there's a lot happening, a lot of plot lines are converging, and yet I just didn't care about these characters or these friendships. I have said in the other books that I felt like some of these side characters I didn't really care about as much anyway, but that didn't affect me and my enjoyment of the story. In this book, I kind of had this realization, like, I don't care about a lot of these side characters that we've had with us this whole time, and maybe I should have by now, and I don't. A lot of the interactions and characters that I liked the entire time I continue to like, but again, I just felt some weird disconnect. I still love the relationships between a lot of the characters, a lot of the romantic relationships between a lot of the nuns, things like that, friendships that have formed throughout the years that we've watched them, but I just wasn't getting the emotional impact of those things anymore. Lastly, I want to talk about the plot. I think something that might have messed with me a bit, although it never has in other books, is the fact that this was told kind of in two timelines. So some of it is told right after the events of the last book, and then it jumps forward to present time, and I think it's a 3-year jump, I want to say, and I felt like I wanted to know more about what happened in between that time, instead of being told in this like past kind of talking about what happened. I would have rather seen that. I think that might have been what the disconnect was for me. We followed Nona through almost her entire life, and then we have this jump of time where we don't really know what she's doing, how she's developed, things like that. And at times it feels like she didn't really develop in that gap that we don't see, but then that also doesn't make any sense. So it's just very odd for me, and I really didn't like that. I feel like there was also some things that happened with characters in that time jump that would have been important to see in real time, and we didn't, and I think now talking about that, that might have been the disconnect for me. Now, the actual plot events that happened were all great. I really can't point out anything about this book that was bad or that I would change plot-wise. There's all these events that happened that were really good, and, you know, solid conclusions for characters, and some really badass moments with a lot of characters, and even some characters that you weren't necessarily expecting, but I still wasn't left emotionally impacted by it. People have since talked to me about the book and were like, oh, wasn't this moment great, wasn't this moment great, whatever, and I'm like, I sort of forgot about those moments. Like, I'm not thinking about them in the way that I would, I think, and I don't know why that is. Now, I still do think that I want to reread this book at some point. I am sure it's going to get nominated next year for the BookTube SFF Awards, so I'm sure that'll be a good time for me to reread it if it does get nominated, because I'm not sure if there was some kind of disconnect with me and how long it took me to read it as well. Now, I wasn't doing anything where I was super busy, but I just wasn't motivated to pick up the audiobook, and because of that, it took me a long time to read it, so maybe that impacted some of the disconnect I was feeling as well. But yeah, I don't have any actual complaints. I think that there was a lot of things fulfilling about this as a ending, as a conclusion, as a finale, but I didn't get the emotional impact that I wanted out of those things. There was loss. There was all these things that I usually bitch about with finales. It had that, but I felt disconnected from it, which sucked. So I don't know if I've ever had an experience like this where I don't really have anything concrete to point to besides that whole like time jump thing about why I don't love a book as much as I feel I should. But definitely comment below and let me know if that's something that's ever happened to you. Because of this disconnect, I'm not doing a gush or gripe, mostly because, like I said, I haven't retained a lot of what happened. I don't feel like I could talk about it. Maybe when I reread it, if I want to do a discussion video at that point, I might. But for now, I don't feel like I have an opinion. Like, I'm so neutral, which is the weirdest thing, to be neutral on the ending of one of my favorite series. Either I'm mad because I'm disappointed, or I'm happy because it's so great. I don't feel any emotion about this, which is so bizarre. So definitely let me know if you've ever had this kind of experience, this kind of disconnect. Also, let me know what you thought of Holy Sister. I ended up giving it 3 stars, I think. I would say 3 stars. Again, I don't even know how to rate it because it's not in my brain anymore, and I haven't even read it that long ago. I can pick out some moments, but it's very, very foggy. I don't know what happened, and I'm upset at myself because I do kind of think it's like something's wrong with me, and I'm mad about it. So it's not the book's fault. I definitely have heard lots of really amazing things about this series from people that do love this series as much as I do, and this finale. So definitely read the finale if you've read the rest of the series. Don't necessarily take my opinion in this instance because I don't know what happened. But I will be intrigued to hear if anybody else feels the same way about Holy Sister as I did. Make me feel better, because right now I feel distraught because I love this series so much and I have no thoughts about the finale. That's why I put this review off for so long, because I didn't know what to do. So comment down below and let me know your thoughts on Holy Sister. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.